Mike, switching gears a little bit, the climate event known as El Nino has become a huge media and social topic as one NASA scientist has recently dubbed it this year's a Godzilla El Nino. Will this year's El Nino truly be a monster, or is all this just talk over the top? Well, here to discuss the possible economic implications is business analyst and meteorologist Paul Walsh. Paul, thanks as always for joining us this morning. From an economic perspective, will El Nino be a monster or a molehill?
Well, Reynolds, I actually think the analogy to Godzilla is actually a little bit over the top, because El Nino is not going to be a monster rising out of the ocean and attacking California. But I do think the impact will be monstrous. And if you're going to use an analogy, I think the blob would be a better analogy, frankly, because it's a blob of warmer water across the Pacific that's going to be impacting the entire global economy, but doing it in a way that's very slow, but very impactful. And we won't see specific impacts, but we will see it growing over time.
What do you think the time frame happens to be on this? I mean, when do you think we will start seeing some impacts on the economy from El Nino?
Well, that's a great question. And back to the blob analogy, we're already seeing the impact. So, for example, at the Panama Canal, they are actually restricting the size of ships that are moving through the canal. And the reason is because there's been a drought in Central America. And because of that, the water levels in the Panama Canal are really low, and they just can't carry as much product. Now, that hasn't happened since 1998. Which was the last time we had an El Nino of the size that we're looking at right now. So we're already seeing those impacts.
Now, Paul, I can understand how it might have some impacts internationally, but here stateside, what kind of impact will it have specifically on us?
Yeah, we live in an interconnected world. So anything that happens anywhere in the world ultimately will reflect back to us. So what's impacting now, what will impact us now, next year, I should say, is the potentially the price of goods and the ability to find products in the stores because of something called the global supply chain, which is fueled by that Panama Canal. So you can see that as goods and services start to be choked because of the impact on the Panama Canal, we could actually see it impact our prices at the store.
All right, Paul Walsh, making the complex understandable. Thanks so much. Folks, we'll see you in a minute.